It's at maximum.
Yes, are you hearing me clearly now? All
I'm hearing you clearly. So
right, let me
me, me,
try.
me turn up my volume till it
All
buck.
right.
So
Boom.
yeah, me turn up it till it buck, you know. So let's see what happens. All right. So I just want to have a chill moment, a chill, relax moment with you. Nothing intense. It's not an interview. I am not an HR manager for crying out loud. So you don't have to feel shaky in your shoes and oh my God, what if I go get to work? I'm expect I become all right. So welcome to the show, Tamika.
Thank you, sir.
It has been long overdue, and here we are today. It's a wonderful
Indeed.
experience.
It's a
All right.
pleasure to
So
be here.
yeah, and today we're going to talk about COVID teacher.
Mm-hmm.
That's our little theme for today. COVID teacher. Um, we are now in a global pandemic, and it is what is raving throughout the world. Um, Even in America right now, the numbers keep doubling and tripling by the day. If you're watching world news, CNN, and all of those stations, you'll see what is happening, people. It is trending. COVID is like a fashion right now,
Oh,
where,
Lord.
yeah, COVID is like fashion. Eh, it's like fashion right now. Everybody are wear it, and
Everybody
you know,
talking about it.
everybody's talking about it. Some people don't want to talk about it because they're so exhausted, and them just can't bother with the whole thing, so they don't even want to hear it.
That's so
But
true.
it has changed the way we communicate. It has changed the way we socialize. It has changed the way we travel, and it has changed the way we do business right around the world. And today we have online learning, something that I had never dreamt that you know I would see where school. I was saying to myself other day that a lot of us can actually stay home and still learn because if students if students were able to stay home for such a short time and did so well in CXC, then you can just imagine what it's like. It's really crazy. But I want to shed some light on the classroom with COVID as it relates to teaching. Um, how has that impact the teaching industry in terms of teaching online?
All right. This COVID pandemic is nothing that we have anticipated or braced ourselves for. It
Right.
is a challenge. I'm
Mhm.
sure you've heard or have had the experiences with maybe neighbors or other community persons who are talking about COVID, the impacts that it has on their child or children's learning, whether in a positive
Mhm.
or a negative way. So it is a big challenge, and the ministry or the schools have implemented new way. Well, the ministry, because of the pandemic, have implemented this way of the online learning. Now,
Right.
some persons are benefiting from the online learning, others are just drowning in the system. Um, it is geared towards continued education, but for some, it is working. For others, it is not so much on the bright side. And I'm sure
Right.
we've seen some of the videos or heard some of the voice notes that are going viral. And trust me, they are hilarious,
Oh, trust me, there's
giving a
something.
synopsis of what persons are experiencing in their household. So it is a big challenge. It is a new way of learning. However, we just have to go with the time. It is the situation at hand, and we just have to work with it. As Miss Luda said, just work with it. We have to work with it.
Oh, the famous Miss Lou.
Yeah.
The thing is, I get to understand that teachers are really struggling because while they went to, I mean, y'all went to teachers college and y'all did well, and but guess what? In terms of navigating social media and technology, y'all weren't fully equipped in that. I mean, of course, you know how to use a laptop. A lot of you didn't know. Maybe some teacher has never used Skype in their entire life,
Mm-hmm.
and we have teachers who are knocking their 50s and their mid 50s now. Who been to college back in the day. So it's like learning all these things now. It's really new. One of the things that I've learned is that there's a lot of students who some of them are coming to class half naked, and I've heard of instances where students are in doing misbehaving in a lot of ways that teachers have to be reporting them, and stuff like that. So it's really crazy. How has this impact your life, with COVID-19 and all of that? Did you ever dreamt that you would have been in this place that you are now?
No. The thought of doing online school was never in the pipeline for us. When this came about in March, we were like new to it, so running around like headless chickens, not knowing what to do. But
Mhm.
as the time progressed, we realized that we're getting more and more familiar with it, and parents and students are getting more familiar with it as well because it is the in
Right.
thing now. So
Uh-huh.
everybody per se knows about online school and are trying to adopt as possible. Now I heard you mention something about the half naked, and that is something that is so much happening. It's happening so much. I've had the chance to work with my niece and nephew. I'm currently at their house now because of
Right.
internet challenges, just the same. And I've
Mhm.
seen where their cameras are off and the teacher may say, oh, let me hear your input. So for instance, Raymond, let me hear what you have to say, or Tamika, let me hear what you have to say. And they'll say, just a
Mhm.
moment, miss, the camera is not working properly. And they went to put on the shirt or the blouse and tunic and come back and tune in and give their little input. So the children are having a field day, I should say. They're doing learning out of the norm. I've seen my niece lying in her bed in front of her laptop, learning, going to the bathroom just the same, sprawling off anywhere, anytime, just the same. So the relaxation that comes with learning, it is now at hand. However, teachers
Mhm.
have to ensure that the students are paying attention because, as I said, sometimes they may turn off their camera. Sometimes they are distracted by the persons around them. One of my colleagues in college, she was explaining in a session that we're having that she was talking to her student and she heard the sibling or whomever in the background say, "Yeah, idiot, you don't know that." So that too is a challenge. They are having the experience of learning at home. Maybe I've never experienced it this in the school before. Maybe never come to the school to really spy on the child in class to see what is happening.
Mhm.
So it is new to everybody: parents, teachers, students, family members, community members alike. It is new to everybody. And as I mentioned earlier, the challenges are great, but there's some positivity to it because the students are at home. Being at home in this COVID situation, I would say they're safer. They
Mhm.
get to learn at their leisure, even though as
Yeah.
teachers, they have to clamp down to ensure that, hey, students are submitting assignments, students are paying attention, students are participating, and students are grasping the concept. So it goes both ways. It is a win-win, can be win-win both ways, and it can be losing out in both ways just the same.
All right, hold that thought. Welcome. If you're just joining us, you are watching the Power Tour Talk Show. Uh, we are talking to a teacher, and she's explaining to us about the whole global pandemic and learning from home experience. She is Tamika Thomas. um, a wonderful personality and a personal friend of mine who I love dearly. I love you, Tamika.
I
Yeah,
love you
so
too, Raymond.
if you're just
Because
joining
it's
us,
never a dull moment with you. To know
if
you
you're
is
just
just to
joining,
love you.
yeah, you every all of my friends them can't do better about this love. Everybody just love Ray, but I just say I'm in love with you.
Exactly.
You love me, all of my friends them in love with you. So yes, welcome and thank you for joining us. I see a few persons. I see Jessica. I see Get This Pike and Tony 302 joining us. Thank you very much for joining and welcome. All right. I remember back in the days going to school, Tamika. I can recall the days when you would get some horse steering lick. You remember them days there?
Yes, man.
You remember the
In the
days?
eight,
You're,
this from the 80s downward, those children would know about it. But these modern students know nothing about that.
no, because I'm old school. I'm a 80s I'm a 80s kid. So so I know what it is to get the full blown length of the whip.
Yes,
You know,
man. Grown up
I know
whip.
what it is. Yeah, I know what it is to go to school and I never like to do homework. I dread doing homework because as soon as I reach home I just want to go and play and do a lot of stuff differently. But if you're here on the show today and you know what it is to get beaten at school, I just want you to just send some fire emoji. I want you to just put some fire emoji in the chat, people, because you know what it is to go to school and get your skin roast.
Yes.
I mean, I had some teachers, just to divert a bit. I remember I had some teachers oh, throughout my days, primary school, and you know, trust me, man, when you get one of the strap across your back, you think your khaki shirt boss.
You wiggle like a worm.
Oh my God, man. Yeah, I mean, I remember I had male teachers who would put the foot up on the desk and throw me across them foot. And it's the board and your bottom.
Oh yes. Oh
Yeah,
yes.
trust me. So I learned I learned to behave myself. But I have my days, I think the school system has changed. How much the school system has changed now in terms of because if my memory serves me right, I think there's a law now that governs how discipline is dished out in schools.
Yes, it has changed dramatically from that which we are known to. But as you mentioned, beating in school, that is prohibited now. Teachers don't dare to discipline any student by whipping these days. I'm sure you probably heard on social medias or by way of the news where students made videos of teachers, sent them viral, and how they came down hard on the teacher.
Really?
So, discipline in today's school days is really somewhat a challenge because students know that teachers are not allowed to flog them, then they may come off in a way that is really unacceptable. And for you to be dealing with discipline in the classroom as well as teaching, that takes up a whole lot of time. Classroom management can be a tough task because there's this child over there who needs attention because he might not be getting the attention at home. There's that other child who doesn't understand what is happening. And so instead of just sitting there and doing nothing, he turns to doing something else, whether start throwing papers, start picking on some other student. And the thing about it is that they know that teachers are not allowed to beat them. So they may do things, they may say things, that are out of the norm, and you would think to yourself, but when I was going to school, I couldn't even think that, much less to utter it, because the moment I think it is a clap upside the head, much more to utter it. So they know, and then the parents, some of the parents too, will speak bad about teachers at home. Oh,
Right.
the girl can't lick your man, or some other things. So when they hear these things, then you see it play out in the actions at school. But as stakeholders, we have to be mindful that teachers have a tough task. And
Right.
as parents and other stakeholders, we have to give our best support. When the student comes home, find out what happened at school, find out if there's a homework to be done, assignments, when they are due, what is the procedure in getting these things done. Because what? We have to make sure that home and school have a very good communication. Just like a marriage, a husband and a wife in a marriage relationship, that is something similar between home and school. We have to keep the communication going, find out what is happening really with teachers and parents, show up
Right.
to PTA, show up to the class. I mean, we're going to have those back maybe next year or soon, where parents can show up to school. We won't have this online thing anymore. I'm praying and hoping that will come to an end. So yes, we need to have a good home and school relationship.
Yes, and I remember the days when evening I mean evening hour days going to school. There were times when parents would show up to school aggressively because
Mm-hmm.
a teacher would have disciplined a student yesterday, and they go home with wales or scars or something, and they'll come back, in rage and, demanding that teachers don't let them pick me. And,
Mm-hmm.
trust me, the memory of those days are so vivid. It's so vivid, like it was yesterday.
Oh
But
yes.
a lot of parents are having a hard time dealing, because technology, it's not just about the teachers who are struggling to deal with the whole operation of technology, but parents at home. And trust me, I've also heard, that there are children who have to be teaching their teachers right now to use these things. I often use the terminology to say that these children, they're they were born with a special chip
Oh yes. Oh yes.
in the womb. You know, they got that chip. It downloaded everything to them that they needed, so that when they're born, they're already advanced.
That is
Because
true.
trust me, I have a little nephew at home, and trust me, when I tell you he's brilliant,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's teaching me stuff about technology. I mean, he's teaching me stuff about YouTube, and sometimes I'm so embarrassed because because I mean, I'm saying, "Wow, look how long we've been," and he has to be teaching me these things, and I have to be asking him, how do you get this done, or how do you know? I remember, just in short, he taught me that on YouTube you need like 32 seconds in order to get a view on something that you post. And I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense. And he said, Uncle, you can check it out yourself. I'm not telling you anything that is not true. And I was like, okay. And he's indeed correct. So the parents are at home, um, struggling just the same.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a voice note where apparently a parent got angry and was saying that they need to open the schools. And let me quote, it was a voice note that I heard. So, if there's no truth to it, then I quote, the parents was saying, let make school open, make COVID kill them. When I heard it, I was like, oh my God, this cannot be.
That's the level of frustration. That's the level of frustration that the parents experience at home.
I
Because,
can,
Raymond, when the student have to go from this app to that Google Classroom, Moodle, Schoology, all these different apps that they have to go to access
Yeah,
the online
different
learning.
different
It is
apps. Mhm.
frustrating. It can be frustrating. And then when to submit an assignment, that can be another challenge as well, because the child might not understand exactly what to do. And then the
Yeah.
parent, most of the time, doesn't know what to do either. So it's a whole frustration in the home. And I understand what that lady is saying. What my school make them go, because when they're at school, you didn't have to be worrying about, oh, my child needs to get this. He's already at school. He's already there, grasping everything. You are worried about everything else at work or whatever else there is that parents worry about. Not to add to it with this online school. Wait till them come home 2 or 3 o'clock. Then we deal with that. But whole day, all day, it is frustrating. It is
So
really
all right.
frustrating.
So as we know, we also have a tablet crisis where students in rural areas are not able to attend classes for months or for weeks or for days because one they don't have the gadget, and secondly they don't have the internet sorry, the internet connection there. And I have seen, I've been watching where the government, the Ministry of Education has been working with other, what you call it, other companies and stuff to, and the government to make it a reality. Can you comment on that to say how much they have progressed in, as it relates to that? How much has that improved? Can you comment on that?
Well, yes, it is a big challenge in regards to gadgets to access online school. And I was at one of the high schools yesterday on the basis of an unfortunate situation, but I was there and I heard a parent talking about she witnessed some of the tablets came into the schools because she was asking about it for her grandson who is in 11th grade, that the 11th grade students are supposed to get tablets since they're preparing for CXC and all that. So yes, tablets are going out to some of the schools, but the thing that you mentioned about the rural areas, they have the tools for learning, but are not able to access it because of internet or poor internet connection.
Mhm.
So as a community now, as stakeholders, we have to reach out, show a helping hand where necessary, and that is something that is big on the Creative Youth Foundation platform, because we're out to get
I, 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 I,
initiatives.
I, 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 I I don't want you to talk about the creative use. Hey, don't talk about creative use. Don't talk
Okay,
about creative use.
okay, sir.
If
Okay,
you're just joining
so
us,
what
you are
I'm
watching the.
imploring community members, family members, persons out there, if you can involve a child or two in your house, I know it's COVID and people are sort of skeptic now, but it's
Right,
education. Sanitize as much as possible, even if they have to wear the mask or your section somewhere with plastic for them to
right.
access the class. Please, I'm imploring, reach out to somebody who you know is in need, because there are so many students who are left behind because of this online learning. They don't have the gadgets, or they don't have access to the internet. So we have to help out where necessary. But we as the ministry is trying as best as possible to reach as many persons, and that's a good initiative, but we as stakeholders, parents, we still have to do more on our part to help out.
Yes, we all have a part to play,
Exactly.
and I was telling someone the other day that there's a lot of us. Um, I think we tend to focus so much on the fact that we are in need, and we often forget how much because guess what, a lot of us have people in our circle, and maybe maybe an individual might look at the fact that if I'm gonna I alone will have to purchase a tablet for $20,000 or $23,000. But sometimes you're a part of a circle where if you want to give back, you can say to somebody, or you can say to a group of people, look, hey, I have an initiative. I want to contribute a tablet to this person. You know, let us do it as a team.
Yeah.
And if one person give $4,000, the other give $4,000, that's $8,000. And if everybody gives some, if it's even $100, so one person don't really have to shoulder the burden to say that it's too much of a cost for them to purchase one tablet, or it may not even be a tablet. You can buy a pack of pencil, you can buy a pack of ruler, you can buy geometry, ge-
Geometry.
geometry set, geometry set. Thank you, teacher, for the correction. And stuff like that. So there's so much that we can do. A
Yes.
lot of us have internet connection. Your neighbor might don't have any internet. How about inviting that student, or those students, those children over to your house? Set up a little area where they can, you know they're able to sit down and to use your internet, so we can give back in so many different ways. We don't have to take it on by bulk, and that is where we often strain ourselves as it relates to that.
Or
you know
relatives or
um
other persons overseas just the same who can
right.
help.
So there's a lot of ways in which we can give back. I have seen a lot of foundations out there, in this pandemic, giving back to communities, and giving out care packages and stuff like that. So we have to remember that we have a responsibility,
Exactly.
not just to ourselves, but to the wider community. All right. So in terms of, I mean, it has become a new normal. Education has now, there's a paradigm shift as it relates to education, and everywhere. There's a lot of persons who are still at home out of a job. There's a lot of persons who are working from home, and there's a lot of other different situations out there going on right now. We're suffering from mental depression. There's a lot of that going on, and I've heard people even calling to